Good morning, everybody. It is August 15th this morning. It's a nice 8 a.m. We've been going for the last hour or so. I just kind of wanted to show you the contouring of this HD50F John Deere 50-foot hinged full flex draper. As you can clearly see, we're still on Durham. We are on our best Durham. This is as good as it's gonna get. It's doing all 15 bushel an acre, but hey, that's a lot better than 7 bushel an acre, which we have been cutting, and a lot better than 3 bushel an acre, which we came off of not too long ago. But let's get back to the header here for a second. The other combines are rolling in. As you can clearly see, this is a RM grid road, and when they built the road, they got to do so by taking it out of the ditch. So we're farming right up to the grid road because that's what you do down here. And the field actually comes up on an angle like this and then levels flat. Now, when we would have our 50-foot honeybee air flexes, we got to remember those do not hinge, right? Obviously, you got to cut this out in 2 passes. One pass, you're just going to go normal, and you're going to trim off that, and you're going to trim off where you're going to drive, so that way you don't tramp any down. Then you're going to make another pass on an angle like this just to clean up the ditch, because while you're cutting that straight, your header is up here like this, right? So you're completely missing everything from pretty much this point on. Make sense? Makes sense. 50 feet all the way across, take a 2x6, right? Where the John Deere hinge draper, also be like a MacDon, they got hinge drapers. You can contour like this, and you can grab it. Only difference is between this one and the MacDon is this is full flex, which means we're in rigid right now, which means we're hinging, but we can still hinge and have a full flex table unlike a MacDon. Make sense? Makes sense. See if we can get another angle at it here. If you look at the reel, I don't know if you can even, we're looking right into the sun here, so yeah, kind of hard to see. But anyways, I'm cutting all this stubble the same height as I'm cutting the same height underneath the feeder house, and I'm cutting the same height on the other side. That's awesome. See? No crop missed. We leave no heads behind. Hey? All the other guys, they mounted flags here over the weekend. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority of them did. And they put them right on the end of the auger. We did make a bracket to stick mine right there. But did I get it done? Absolutely not. Why? Because I was busy doing other things. So it's gonna stay there for a little while longer. But anyways, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Oh, and another thing is, these tires, they come at like 65 plus PSI, okay? I do not know why they need to have so much air in these puppies. Probably because they're tubeless and they don't have a lot of sidewall, would be my guess. But even when you have 5 sensitivity settings in your combine to put pressure down on these tires, I'm running in the lightest light. I'm running in very light, which means these things are barely even touching the ground. They're kind of tup, tup, tup. But even in the most heaviest setting, which is very heavy, there's 0 squat on these tires. So that's probably how they want it. But the problem is, even in very light and light setting, when you're going across 12-inch spaced drill rows in a drought, which means that our land is like concrete out here. That's how hard. Oh, another combine just showed up. Like concrete out here. I'll show you when we get going. This header, it goes like, in fact, the back even torsions just a little bit like this. And of course, we're going at high speed, right? We're doing like that 7, 8 miles an hour, up to 9 miles an hour at times. That poor header is going, well, it's never gonna last. You're gonna fatigue all this steel, it's gonna start cracking, it's gonna start breaking up. So you need to soften that a little bit. We're not up north where we're playing in nice soft dirt or mud, right? So I've actually released most, I would say I took it down to about 25 PSI each tire. Then I put weight on it. I put it on the very heavy setting to make sure we don't squat that tire too much, because you don't want a lot of squat, because if you have too much squat, there's a fine line. You'll create resistance, which would put a lot of pressure on these hinges, right? Because it's like foot wants to pull back because you have so much resistance. That's one reason. And the second reason is you don't want to throw off your calibrations in your combine. So everything's calibrated to have a, you know, a pretty solid tire there. You don't want to basically have flat tires and throw off your calibration. So I think I kind of found that sorry, I just want to make sure he's not going to be a squirrel. I think I kind of found that happy medium, I hope. So we're kind of playing with that. But it's definitely taken a lot of the vibration like this, going across these drill rows all day long. This header is not going to last doing that. Where I like the honeybees a little bit better, they're riding on airbags. Yes, we have that goofy jack there. That's taken a lot of it. On their newer models, because they threw the jack away, thank goodness, and they just put a big airbag. That airbag is taking it all. You're going across those 12-inch drill rows at 8 miles an hour, that airbag's and that table is staying flat. You don't want that to get into the steel, or you're going to have a lot of problems with fatigue, cracking after about a year or two. Now that I've rambled on about that, we got combines going down the field. We need to get cracking. All right. Shoes off. Oh, actually, hold on. Before you can even do that, all right, make sure you got no dust on your legs. Still haven't got a box or something, you know. That's still coming. Beauty. All right, let's get cutting. Definitely like the hinged. Keeps me from coming unhinged. Problem is, guess who gets stuck with doing all the first rounds and first passes and all the crap stuff? Yep, you guessed it right. I used my windshield wiper to clean this window a little bit, and I feel like it should have stopped at the top, not the bottom, because we got some leakage going on here. I keep trying to bat it back up there, but stay up there! But going back to the air pressure in the tires, hold on here. One thing you do have to watch for, I'm just going to go out and make a loop here, is that tire will skid. You're just pushing it sideways when you turn hard. It should be able to swivel, in my opinion. So if you take too much air out of them, well, you're just going to pop the thing off the bead. So you don't want to do that. But so far, 25 pounds will not take it off the bead, just FYI. I guess it would also depend on how much weight you have. I'm sitting at light at my heaviest. The more weight you put on that tire and turn her and skid her hard, I guess there is a greater chance of taking it off the bead. And also keep in mind, as much as the header will droop this way, it will also smile at you and go this way. Not that we have anything in this video to show you that, but I'm sure we will here as harvest progresses. And just to run you back through just to summarize here. You have 5 settings. Didn't click. There it is. Very light, typical, heavy, and very heavy that you can adjust from. So basically all that is, I'm just gonna stop here for a second because I'm gonna wreck something. If you're coming up and over a hill, if you're on very light, your header's just gonna kind of float, and you're gonna be missing heads. It's gonna float, and then it's gonna come back very slowly. If you're on the opposite, very heavy, it's gonna come up and then up and down the hills at high speed. So the faster you're going up and down the hills, the heavier you're gonna want to have your sensitivity for your header, so that way it can follow the ground. But it comes with a pro and a con. Yes, it's gonna follow the ground. You're not gonna leave any heads on the ground. But a con is you're putting a lot of weight on your wheels. And well, for us out here when it's so dry and our ground is so hard and it's so cracked, I think it's too hard on the header. So I've been running light is as heavy as I run. Now, when you're in flex mode, that's to be a whole different can of worms, okay? Whole other bag of cats, flex mode. But right now we are in rigid, so that's just the header downforce. All right, you guys got that. Clear as mud. I guess this is a bit of a, right here, it's a little bit of one. You guys can't hardly tell, but you can kind of look at the reel. See how they're kind of sloped into each other. Okay, enough talking. I'm going to shut up for about a couple minutes. I know I didn't think it was possible myself, and you guys can just watch and listen to the combine.
Way are you going to work, Rick? Which direction? I guess I can go east. Okay, I'll follow up on your west side. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
another thing that I noticed here on day one, I know we're a couple days in, is these gauge wheels, right? We've already talked about the tire pressure, but their point of contact is far too far away from that cutter bar. So the problem is, and I actually am disappointed, I thought that Deere would have done a little bit better job with that, but when you go down through a washout, I will grade the dirt with the guards and suck up some rocks. Ask me how I know. Every time, even at 4 mile an hour, because that's already in the bottom of the washout trying to come up the other side, and it's great coming up the other side, and that wheel has not started going down and doesn't know to tell the header that it needs to be starting to pick itself back up. It doesn't know that. The reason why it's too far away. It's at least 12 inches. That wheel needs to be, that hub needs to be exactly where that hydraulic cylinder is. At least needs to be there. That's where it is on the air flexes, and it does a pretty good job. This is at least 12 inches farther back just by gauging it off of here, off the air flexes, and it shows. It shows. I'm disappointed about that. I really thought that they would do better. It would be nice to see maybe they try and integrate the hockey sticks, like back with their 645s or 745s, they'd have hockey sticks under them, right? And they maybe have, I think, 2 hockey sticks here and 2 hockey sticks there, and they were really quick and responsive because they're actually underneath your header. So as you're going down the washout, they're moving and telling your header already to come up. Well, your header's already gouging into the other side right now before that wheel ever gets to it. So maybe they could integrate the hockey sticks underneath, and as they start opening up and going back down and sending a signal to the tires, hey, by the way, we'll start releasing pressure and sending this header up because you're about to gouge in. You know, you don't want to hit that, be like the Titanic in an iceberg. So, and I don't know if that's an option or not, or what their options are, but I think that they definitely need to do some improving there. That's my 2 cents. And with that, you can take that and huck it as far as you would like to if you would, but I'm going to suck in a lot of rocks if I'm going to go off. And no, I'm not cruising through washouts at 8 mile an hour. I'm slowing right down to like 3-4 mile an hour. Sensitivity is high as it'll go, and it's going down, It just simply can't see that we're going up the other side, or you're running the header into the other side to tell the tire that, hey, start moving that header. I guess if you had a nice, long, gradual washout, it'd be no problem. But if you have a fairly sharp washout, it's not nearly quick enough. It doesn't matter if, I guess, I just actually been taking over control manually, lifting my header, leaving some heads, I don't care, right? I don't want to take in some rocks and do damage to the combine itself. So I'd like to see some serious improvement there. But yeah, that's a little bit of the nutshell of the header. And we'll continue doing lots more videos. And we're doing a bunch of comparing with the S-Series. We'll talk about the ideals. And we'll talk about the X some more. And yeah, stay tuned, guys. Adios.